This, not my partner, but this was me in November and December 2020. Just this like existential crisis, and then being okay again. It was very strange. And the reason why that was happening all the time was because I was way too hard on myself. And I saw that from a lot of people. I saw that from people who weren't able to hit their goals, people who didn't get their New Year's resolutions, people who got laid off, like myself. I saw that from a lot of people. And I want to take this video, to talk about why you deserve so much more self-compassion, so much more love. You deserve to truly be the protagonist of your life, as TikTok would say, and to just treat yourself as your best friend. Treat yourself like you're the most important person in your life, because you are, and we have not been told that enough. My cereal is practically like nothing. When we think about our roots, a lot of us have grown up in a capitalist society. A lot of us just happen to fall into this idea that the only way to succeed and I guess like deserve good things is if you work really hard. But the problem with that is that it's like a polarizing viewpoint. Like, you have to work so hard that work becomes more important than your mental well-being. It becomes more important than seeing the loved ones that you have in your life. It becomes more important than like literally anything else. And when one thing becomes so extreme like that, I don't think extremes in any sense are healthy. I have my bullet point YouTube scribbles here. Self-compassion is such a broad topic, and I'll continue talking about it throughout the year as a reminder to you, but also to myself. But I want to just elaborate on some ideas that might have you thinking during this month about self-compassion, and when it comes to work, and when it comes to just your overall mental health and your well-being. The first one is, you did enough work this week. A lot of us in 2020 started working from home, and that means two things depending on what you're doing. The first thing is that you have no physical boundary between you and your work. So what that means is, like, whether it's like time boundary, so like the commute time between being at home and then work, and there's also that lack of boundary between like physical boundary, like your desk at home is also your office desk. Whether you like work in your living room, there is no actual boundary between home and office anymore. The second case, and this could technically work for anyone, but for myself, I started working full-time freelancing in 2020, and as much as it's been amazing, it's been great, I love it, I really do, no one is telling me to stop working. I don't have a boss, I don't have coworkers around me, no one is saying like, hey, you're good, stop. And I think a lot of people do experience that, not being in an office anymore, and their boss being like, hey, like, you've been working really hard today, take the rest of the day off, or you know, whatever. A lot of us are just kind of alone, and we feel like we need to fill all the free time that we have with work and work and work, or we're not doing enough, or sometimes we feel like we get distracted at home a lot, and so we have to do like these extra hours, or the boundaries just really aren't there. I think that like that's the underlying thing about it. The reminder is, you did enough work this week. And I would recommend you remind yourself that at the end of each week, because whether or not you did do the quota of work, or how many hours of work you wanted to put in, or whatnot, at the end of the week, you can't do anything past it. Like you literally cannot control what has happened in the past 7 days. And you can either choose to put yourself down for it, or say, I'm gonna try to be proud of myself for what I did this past week. You know, it was a hard week, or, you know, I wasn't feeling well, or whatever. And these are the things that I'd like to improve on. I'll take it into next week. And the problem with putting yourself down for it is you are putting stress on your brain over things that you can't control. And this is something that I need to get better at too, right? Like, I put myself down when I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't get that YouTube video out. Putting ourselves down doesn't do anything except hurt our mental well-being, put stress on our brain, and makes us feel bad and worse about ourselves. So that's why we're better off saying, I'm proud of the work that I did, I'm gonna do better work next week, and I'm gonna be just content with where I'm at, because I literally cannot control what just happened this past week. Number 2 is you do not need to be at 100% all the time. Certain countries are COVID free, and congrats, genuinely congrats, I'm so glad that you're in that place. For a lot of us, we are still in a world pandemic, quarantining, trying to deal with all these weird new emotions that we might not regularly deal with all the time, feelings of anxiety, dread, feeling overwhelmed, etc. And because of that, you should not be expected to be 100% all the time. And not even within the pandemic. Just as a human, you're not expected to be 100% all of the time, right? You can be 100% one day and then like go down to a 70 and then go down to like a 30 or a 0 and then be 100% again, or you can be stagnant at like a 50. There are so many different ways to feel energy and to feel like yourself, and when you're at your best, and maybe right now isn't that time to be at your best, and that's okay. I don't want anyone to think that it's like this black and white sort of thing where you are 100%, you have to be 100% all the time, or you're 0% and you're like failing at life or something of that sort. It is literally a spectrum. It is a fluid spectrum of like energy and how we feel about ourselves. And I just want to give you the grace, and I want you to give yourself the grace to just feel and just be and just accept that I'm at 30%, and that's okay, and I'm not gonna judge myself for it. That's okay. Before I forget, I just want to say something I'm trying to work on harder this year is not judging myself, and I'll talk about that perhaps in another video. But before I forget, I really just want you to also think about what that means for you, not to judge yourself, because I think that a lot of my own mental stress and a lot of my own negative thoughts comes from judging myself and being like, oh, like I'm never gonna blank, 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 right? Or, oh, I'm not good enough to blank, blank, blank. And when I see that kind of thought pattern happen, I try to stop and say, no, I'm not going to judge myself. I'm trying to give myself love and self-compassion and not hurt myself, right? So, just before I forget, I just wanted to add that in. Okay, bye. The third one that I want to talk about is how resting is the most productive thing that you can do. I saw this really awesome Tumblr post. Hopefully I can find it and I can bring it up, and if I don't, I'm sorry that I could not bring it up. If someone's not feeling well, right? And they're like, I don't want to rest because I need to be productive. And productivity means doing the work, getting the work done. But consider this. Consider two versions of yourself. The first version has been working for 40 hours for the week, maybe 50, maybe 60 hours in the week. And they feel awful. Like, they just feel like they're drained of their emotions and their energy. And they're at that, 30 and below kind of like energy level. They're not feeling great. They're not feeling like themselves. They feel burnt out. They don't really feel like excited about the work that they're doing, right? And then you think about the second version of yourself who has come back from vacation. You just had an awesome time on vacation. You're ready to party. You have all this energy. You're super excited, super passionate about like the work that you're doing. You're just in that headspace and you're like, heck yeah, I'm ready to tackle work. In most cases, I feel like you'd want to be the latter version of yourself. You want to be that super energized, awesome, super passionate version of yourself. And what I'm seeing from those two different people, the main difference is that one is well rested and the other one is burnt out and their energy levels are really low. If you are doing work when you're at 30%, there's only so much productivity that you're going to be able to get done versus if you're at 70 plus, if you are really energized, you feel like yourself, you're feeling really good, you're going to get work done so much better. So this idea of resting can be the most productive thing that you can do does work in a lot of cases, because if you are literally not feeling well, how are you expected to go do your work the most efficiently and the healthiest way that you are able to do? Like if you're struggling to like work with like the idea of like mental health and resting with mental health, think of it in the terms of like physical health, right? If you have a broken leg or like a hurt leg, right? And you're like, I need to run this marathon though. Like I have to run this marathon. Like that sounds kind of weird, right? Because it's like, no, you need to go rest. You cannot run the marathon. And why would you try to run the marathon and make your leg worse by running on it when you can't? Like, right? It sounds strange, right? So it's kind of the same thing. You want to rest. You want to make sure that your leg's good to go, and then you can go run the marathon. And you're going to run the marathon so much better than if you were running with the broken leg. Give your brain the break so you're not running on a broken leg. Be self-compassionate.
Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you learned a little bit about self-compassion, and I have persuaded you in some way, shape, or form to just be easier on yourself this year. Like, you deserve that. I deserve that. We all deserve that. We just deserve to take that deep breath and to just like exhale. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Have an awesome week. I will talk to you next week, and you'll be able to follow my shenanigans. Happy 2021 once again, and I love all of you. Take care.